Hey, good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the weekend. I've got my dirty Brussels hat on. What's going on? Happy Saturday. Still basking in the glory of my estate sale find on Friday. In case you missed it, I did venture to Baraboo, Wisconsin yesterday morning and did have success despite a lot of competition for cards. Man, it was awesome. I recapped everything in my latest video. I went live yesterday afternoon. We did end up doing a hobby evolution yesterday morning from my car outside the estate sale. So you can watch that kind of previewed things. I shared what I was doing. I didn't want to share what I was doing ahead of time because I didn't want any additional competition, because I do know there's people that watch this in the area or within a drivable distance to Baraboo, Wisconsin, that might want to go check that out. So we did have, I think there were probably 8 of us looking at cards when we first got into the sale. And just to kind of uh, clear up, because I know, like, when you say, oh, I found this Walter Payton, it's, it could be a PSA 8. And I got it for $1. And people say, oh, well, you should have offered more. And everything was priced at $1. And so I can argue your point. You say, well, you should have offered more, but I paid list price. In fact, I went through the estate sale company's, the owner's Facebook as she was, advertising. And somebody had asked on one of the photos how much for the boxes of cards. And she goes, everything's $1. We didn't even go through it. You'll probably find great stuff. She knew there was going to be good stuff in there. And that's a professional estate sale company that's running this sale. So nobody's ripping anybody off. Well, if anything, the estate sale company, I don't know what the chain of custody command is on the whole sale, but there were also 1990 tops in there for $1 a piece. So, if I go up and offer them market price for a 1990 tops common, they're going to turn me down. No, everything's $1. So I would have loved to grab boxes and boxes of cards, but everything was $1. It's a 3-day sale at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon. Do you think they're going to give bulk discounts? Especially when some of the stuff that's in there, you feel guilt. Like, man, I feel guilty enough. Actually, I don't feel guilty at all, paying $1 for some of these cards. But, I want to get back, but I just don't have time. I've got to get some shipments out today, heading out at about noon for my nephew's wedding reception. I'll be out of town tomorrow. So other people can have the leftovers. It's been picked pretty, there's still some, I left some 72 tops football high numbers. I didn't realize what they were. I'm glad I grabbed what I did. I only found 2. Well, I found 12, but I only bought 2, left 10, 12 there. There's probably some 72 tops high numbers in there, baseball. I didn't realize, and now after I was pricing some of the 71 high numbers, I do recall somebody saying, oh, the 71s aren't as, I just remember in passing hearing 71 high numbers are not as valuable as 72 in baseball. So there's still some good, for $1, there's a lot of good stuff still there. I passed on, if many of those cards were in a random dollar box at the Madison Card Show, which is next Saturday at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive, I would have bought a bunch of them. Now, the difference in a dollar box at a card show is you can grab 400 cards and say, well, you do 300. And the seller's probably like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do 75 cents a card. The difference here is they weren't really taking at the very beginning of a 3-day sale, they were not taking offers. No, it's priced as is. You're the first one in the house. We're not taking offers. So So that was part of it. It was not just an estate that was for sale. It was I think the 70s cards were part of the estate. I think some of the junk that was the real junk wax that was upstairs, and maybe even some that was downstairs, because the sale was not just the estate sale. It was the company that ran the sale also does cleanouts, and they buy at sheriff's auctions. So there was a lot of other stuff mixed in. So I'm not sure where everything came from, but so that's a little background on what was going on, and so they let us in, and at the beginning, it's like I only saw like 3 shoe boxes, and I talked about this yesterday. It's like, I don't know what's going to be in there. There was no Walter Payton showing on top. There was no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There was no Dr. J rookie card on top. It was 73, 74 tops commons that were shown. It's like, well, maybe there's something in there. Well, there was. But it was way better than I expected. Way better than I expected. Way better than all of us that were in there as we were like digging through these. Like, oh my God, we were like kids in a candy store with our sugar fix. So they basically let us in through the list. There was a sign-up sheet. First 25 went in, and the owner of the estate company said, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just, Brandon was first, and him and I hung out like for 3 hours digging. It was him and I were the lone soldiers at the end, and I was 5th on the list. Three of the 4 ahead of me were also card guys. So we went straight to the basement where these cards were in one of the rooms downstairs, and everything was priced at $1. So you just started digging because you didn't want to grab a stack of 77 tops commons, pay $1 each. You're overpaying. But if you go through and you find Walter Payton and Dr. J and Kareem and Wilt, gladly pay $1 each on that stuff. So that's how it worked. And if you saw the video from yesterday, if not, go back and check out what I bought yesterday. I think I ended up with 400. I didn't count, but they counted obviously when I checked out. They threw in the Sugar Daddy basketball cards. They're like, oh, these are small. I'm just going to throw these in. And it's I comped them out last night. They're in my eBay store now, which I'll throw that banner on the screen. 99centcards.com. Hey, some of the stuff that I bought yesterday is already loaded in my eBay store, so check it out. 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more items at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout. So the Sugar Daddies I'm comping out, and they're like, the Chet Walker's like $10. The Bob McAdoo's about $15. It's like, that's $25 in value. They're like, oh, they're small. You can just have them. It's like, okay. I didn't know, for all I knew, they were worth $1 or $2. I figured I've never seen these before. They're oddballs from the 70s. They're probably worth more than $1. So nothing too crazy, but still, when they just throw them in, not too bad. So I think I got 441 cards, and I paid $439. I did pull one, and as I'm looking at it, it's like, why did I even pay $1 for this? It's the 73 Bob Gibson with a hole punch in it. There were a bunch of 73s with hole punches, and it's like, oh. So it's like, it's worth $1. So I've got some, and I've actually sold through like 5 or 6, maybe 7 of the flat rate boxes of my quarter box inventory, and I'm throwing like some good stuff in each box. So I'll probably end up throwing a hole punched Bob Gibson in one of those boxes. So that's kind of how it went. So if you saw what I pulled and $1 each, basically everybody that was digging early on, we were all pulling good stuff. We were even helping each other out. It's like, you want this? It's like, our piles are growing so much. It's like, yeah, you can have. I mean, I think that the best part about it was everybody was so nice to each other. It wasn't, we didn't have to elbow each other. We weren't fighting over piles and boxes. We were actually helping each other out. Like, there's like 8 guys, And there's this, like, it could get ugly in a situation like that. And it wasn't, I found two George Brett rookies. The first one I found, I'm like, oh, sweet, George Brett rookie. And so Brandon actually was his name. He's like, let me know if you find it yount. And of course, that would be something that I'm going to buy myself. But I'm like, you know what? You're a Brewers fan. I found some good stuff. I think I had just found the Peyton also. It's like, okay, I'm finding some really good stuff. I'd already found the Dr. J rookie was one of the first things I found, and I didn't know it was a Dr. J rookie. I'm like, oh, Julius Erving. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, I thought that was a rookie. Found a couple Bill Walton rookies, didn't realize how much they sell for. So I found a Robin Yount rookie, and I'm like, here you go. And so he got to buy a Robin Yount rookie for $1. And I also later found a Paul Molitor rookie for him. So, we were helping each other out, and he got a Yount and Molitor rookie and other stuff. He bought a whole bunch of tall boys. He's like, and so everybody, and I don't know if I saw Cooter. Okay. So yeah, I want to address, this is a good question as we're talking about just the other people that were there. Were the other card guys collector card guys or dealer card guys? So it was a mix. So obviously I'm a dealer guy. I was basically strictly there for resale. I pulled two cards for my own PC, 441 cards, 439 are for sale, and 2 are for my PC. Actually, I think there's a third one. Thought there was maybe a Bill Madlock rookie. So Brandon was kind of he was the first guy there. He's a big card guy in that area. I think he was more dealer guy than what he was trying to portray. I think he was more, because he was talking, he's like, I probably won't sell any of these, but I think he was one of those, like, he was looking for value, like, looking for stuff for $1 that's, worth it, but maybe not necessarily like me, who's in it full time. He's not in it full time, but he definitely knew. He was very keen on what were rookie cards. He knew, he was pretty like, oh, let's look at the set. Like, he was like grading wise, he kind of knew what was up. Like, he was pretty, dealer card guy-ish. Even though he said, like, I'll probably keep most of this for my own collection. But he did say there were a bunch of tall boy basketball from 75. I can show you, because I grabbed a few of the stars. So I think I grabbed 3. 76. So I grabbed a Bill Bradley and a Jerry Sloan. And then one of my favorite basketball players growing up was Moses Malone, rest in peace. And this was always a card that I just loved. Now, does it fit my PC? No, but it's got that nostalgia. It might be something like, it's probably going to be something that I'll probably price above comps in my eBay store, because I like the card and I don't need to sell it. So he ended up buying like all of the rest. He's like, I'm just going to buy all of these and lot them up. He's like, there might be a partial, because I know they were cherry picked. There was another basket. So just talking about the other people, there was another guy. So there were probably 4 guys. So there's probably 7 of us, maybe 6 of us at the very beginning. 3 or 4 were around. There was like a big table, and it had baseball and football mainly. And so that's where the guys ahead of me went there first. Most everybody was baseball. One guy was basketball. One guy was football / baseball. And the rest of us were kind of just more on baseball, but we all knew, most of us knew the other sports that, we could, get some good stuff. So where I went, so I was, 4th among the card guys. So I went over to the football basketball, which is where I found the Dr. J rookie. So I'm going through, and there was a shoebox. And so there's basically 3 of us kind of going through this shoebox. And one of the guys was basketball, and he found some really good stuff, some Kareems, he found a Dr. J. I don't know if he found another. I think there was just one rookie. It seemed like it was basically like complete sets that were just sorted by team. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. Everything was kind of in years by teams, but everything was there. All the rookies. People asked, did you miss anything? So I did not see a Terry Bradshaw rookie. I did not see a Carlton Fisk rookie. I did not see a Mean Joe Green rookie. Trying to think. I didn't see any 78 football. Like 78 was basically the stop. There was a small pile of 71 baseball. There was some 71 football, but a bulk of it was 72 to 78, but there was not any 78 football. So I was thinking Tony Dorsett, but I didn't see any 78 football. Not a single 78 football. Very small hockey, maybe like a dozen cards. I just left them. I don't know anything about hockey. I think everybody else was in the same boat. We know Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky, and that's it. What else was there? So the guy to the left of me, and this is kind of where it paid off to go back through piles. So a lot of the stuff, unfortunately, was rubber banded, but it's been rubber banded for like 40. So, I mean, that's good and bad. But a lot of the stuff was rubber banded. So it was almost like find the rubber bands, because that means nobody's looked through those. The guy to the left of me, I think he was the football and kind of baseball guy. And he's like looking through basketball. He's like, I don't even know basketball. I don't even know what I'm looking for. So you have to be very cognizant when you're doing this to not only pay attention to what you're looking at, but pay attention to what other people say and pass on. Keep an eye on, obviously it's speed. You got to there's a lot when there's so much laid out, like it's all about speed. When he said that, I'm like, okay, I got to go back and look through his basketball piles to see what he missed. And I did come back and I'm like, I can't believe people are passing like some of the really good stuff, not the best stuff that I found, but some of the really good stuff I found, I know had been passed over. There was one other guy who was ahead of me on the list. And he's like, I'm only here for 70. I'm building the 75 set. And he's like, I'm not really into cards, but I had a 75 set and my mom lost it. Of course, my mom sold my card story. And so he was a amateur. He was, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean that I don't think he really knew what he was looking for. When he heard $1 a card, I think he was upset. I think he wanted to buy like a whole shoebox for $20. He had built a pile, and this is what I mean by amateur. He had now. Let me explain how the room was set up. The room's set up like everything's for sale, right? Like if there's not a pile in front of you, and I'm guarding my pile, and I trusted everybody that was in there. Maybe I shouldn't, but I did. But even so, it's kind of like how I PayPal. I'm going to do goods and services. I don't care if I know you or not. I'm going to do goods and services because how many horror stories? Well, I've done 5 deals with him. He's always been good. Well, the 6th deal where you say, oh, trust me, and you send friends and family, that's when they get you. You always got to be looking out for number 1. So I had my pile close to me. Don't leave your pile. So this guy leaves a pile, and he only had like, I don't know, 10 or 12 cards. And he left it in a pile on a table and went upstairs. What are you doing? He's like, I had a pile. This was my pile I was building. Well, where'd you go? And he was just which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But so it was, it was kind of a mix. It was, there were some people that would come along and I think it was more nostalgia for them. Looking through cards from when they grew up. Because they'd come down, they'd, oh, look at all these cards, and they'd go through, and then they'd kind of walk off. So yeah, it was definitely a mix of collectors and dealer types. But I don't think there were any it didn't seem like there were any but I say that and here I am as a full-time eBay reseller of cards. The other guys didn't come off like that, but I guess maybe I don't come off like that either. So who knows? But I didn't recognize, because I was looking at the list, the sign-in list, because I know some people in the area, dealers and stuff, and I didn't see any names that I recognized, and obviously I didn't recognize them in the sale. What else? I thought I saw James made a comment. They look good. Condition on a few were rough. They're all in really good condition for everything that I picked out. There's nothing that's really rough. I mean, the pinhole, I don't even know why I agree. I think this was just one of the first cards, and even though it's got a punch hole, I'll take it. That's probably the worst. Some of the centering, but the corners on everything was really good. But the Dr. J does have a couple the bottom left and the top right corners are off. I'm still going to submit that Dr. J to PSA, because even a 2 will sell for a few $300 maybe. The Peyton's amazing. Orlando says, did you say anything when you found the Peyton rookie? Yes, I actually, because we were all kind of looking, we all knew it's probably in here. I was the only one that was consistent looking for it, because I knew, again, beware of your surroundings. Everything was in there. It was complete set. Everything was there from these sets, with the exception of 71, because it didn't appear to be a complete set of 71 tops, and 72. And I don't know if I saw any 73. But once you got to 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, everything was there. So I kept looking, and I finally found it. So when I did come across it, I said, yes. I raised my hand in the air and celebrated finding the Peyton, and everybody's, oh, that's the best card of the bunch. Let's see. James says 71 are brutal. Still looking for a good Nolan Ryan. There was not a Nolan Ryan in 71 that I found. That table I didn't get to towards the end, but not towards the end, but it was secondary. But somebody else may have found some of the stars from 71. Again, I didn't find a Nolan Ryan 71 or 72. So I think the only Nolan Ryans I found were maybe some of the leader cards in 74, and then I found the 75. I think the 75 might have been the only Nolan Ryan that I got. So I think somebody else probably, again, because once you got to 74, it was basically complete sets. I know Brandon, I think, got a Dave Parker and Dave Winfield rookie. Not sure what else. The 71s are in tough condition. But everything else, most of these were pack fresh. I couldn't believe how good of condition these cards were in. Absolutely amazing. Nothing was protected, just in shoe boxes, a lot of them in rubber bands. And still, fortunately, the Peyton was not in a rubber band. None of the 76 football was in rubber bands. Big Scott says, did you list the Daryl Dawkins? Not yet. Probably this coming week. I won't. What I listed last night is all I'm going to get to until probably Monday. So yeah, I've got my piles here ready to list here upcoming next week. Let's go to the top of the chat. We've got Brian here. Good morning. Kyle's in the house. What's up? Dan's here. What's going on? He says, throw the hat away. Shut up, Dan. Zach and Porter says, when you told your wife, did she ask, who is Walter Payton? I don't think so. She probably doesn't. So she actually, funny, this is not regarding Walter Payton, but Kerry Wood, when I did my first pitch and Kerry Wood was on the field and we were talking, my wife goes, he's not that old. And I'm like, no, he's only a couple of years older than we are. And she's like, I thought he was like 70. I'm like, you thought Kerry Wood was 70? So she probably doesn't know who Walter Payton is. That's okay. Brian says, did you ask what they will do at the end of the sale with all the cards that are left? So she alluded to the fact they probably will do, they'll probably sell them all. It's probably going to be a situation where it's going to be what's left. Like they were not taking offers. So when I checked out, she said, did you find some good stuff? And I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in there. And she goes, I had one guy offer me $5,000 for all the baseball only. And I'm like that. I don't know what other, there was probably the other guys that got to it before me that cherry picked. I mean, when you think about what was there, 71 to 78, like, is it worth 5,000? Like even in the condition, like some of these were in, like you probably should have taken $5,000 for all the baseball. Cause there wasn't, I don't think at $1, even at $1 a card, you're not going to get there, especially on the baseball. I don't know if they're going to get to 5,000 selling singles out of the 70s. I was there for 3 hours. I got 440. The Brandon guy, probably 500-600 cards. Another guy got about 200 worth. And everybody else that came on later were not like, it was, you had to get there early. So I'm sure they probably will sell it all and probably at a great price. I unfortunately won't be around. So, if I was going to be around, I probably would have went back each day, like knowing what I left. If I didn't have anything going on today, I would go back today if I didn't have to leave town. And I would certainly go back Sunday to make an offer. I don't think they would take offers. Like if I reached out and said, hey, I'll give you X amount for the rest of the cards, I don't think they would take it. I think they're going to sell it until the end of Sunday, and whatever's left, make an offer. So I think that's probably what would happen. I think the sale goes until like, maybe I'll be back in time. We'll see how I feel. If I can get back in time, maybe I'll make the drive. I'll probably, miss out. Like, oh, we just sold it 10 minutes ago. C. Melvin, what's going on? Good morning. Duke's in the house. Good morning. Zach says you should tell the estate sale that for a fee, you can review future inventory. I've actually thought about doing that. So they don't get screwed. You get first dibs and then they don't get screwed. Win-win. And I don't think they care. And I showed Zach the comments that the estate sale people made. Like they knew there was great stuff. They just didn't care. It's like, do you need a card guy? Like, and I've thought about reaching out and being like, hey, I will help, where it's a win-win for me and you. Dr. J Rookie, Boston Smokes in the house. Zach says, I know from recent experience that estate sale companies combine multiple estates for one sale. George, what's going on? Another honest question. Have you thought of keeping the Walter? Oh God, no, absolutely not. It's going to PSA and then it's going for sale. That is a once in a lifetime card of your favorite team. You will never find a better deal. I have and this is what differentiates a collector. Like this is where you have to draw a line. Like this is business. And if it was an Ernie Banks rookie for $1, yeah, I'd probably keep it. Well, if it was in that condition, I would definitely sell it and then buy a poorer condition one. Hey, if I sell, who knows what it grades and what it sells for. Maybe I find a cheap one and like, hey, this is in memory, I bought this from the proceeds of that awesome find. I have the memories. I don't need the card. And that's coming from a guy that has 3 million cards in his basement. But I'm not a Bears collector. I'm a Cubs collector. And the Walter Payton rookie does nothing for me. Like, yeah, it's an awesome card, but it's just not, what I can, it will more than pay for what I paid for all of these cards. And it's a part of my business. And you got to keep emotions out. Like, if you want to sell cards full time, you've got to make those tough decisions. You can't keep stuff like that. That's a big card. It's a good amount of income. So it's especially when you're selling $1.50 cards on eBay. You got to keep emotions separate from the business. So it's definitely going up for sale. And that's 100%. I don't like speaking in 100%, 0%, but there is zero chance I'm keeping it. Orlando, what's going on? Thank you, sir. Florida baseball card dude in the house. Congrats on your finds. Thank you. Let's see. George says, was cool to see how you did and hear about it. I honestly had no clue how estate sales went. Neither did I. I always thought it was just an auction. So I knew it was a sale, but I didn't know. It's like, is everything priced? Do you just go make offers? I didn't know how we didn't find out until right before the sale started how the cards were priced. And when she, said all the cards are $1 each, I'm like, oh. And I even made the comment to the lady that I was talking with throughout the morning. I'm like, there's going to be a lot of cards. And there's, even with what was in there is still going to be a lot of cards left on Sunday afternoon because, first of all, there was still a decent amount of junk wax. Like in the basement room we were in with the vintage, there was like one tub with, there was like one shoebox of like 91 Upper Deck and 91 Leaf. And then there was like a tub that was just kind of mixed of a whole bunch of random stuff. So obviously that's all going to be left. But there's going to be a lot of 76, 77, 78, even early 70s stuff that's probably still going to be left over tomorrow. Cooter says, we're the other card guy. Oh, we talked about that. Victor says, good morning. Happy Saturday. Go Cubs. We are free falling. It's very, very disappointing. I watched maybe 2 innings of Cubs baseball this week. I can't do it. It's ugly. Can't do it. I'm being fair weather. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Low Roller says I should buy a bunch of stuff. We're going to ignore that advice. Good morning, Red Light 34. You betcha. Red Light 34 shopped my eBay store. Jody, good morning. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store. Low Roller says my next adventure will be going to local auctions to buy cards and autographs. So I actually did last night. There's if you're in Wisconsin, there's an estate sale with vintage baseball and football today in Fort Atkinson. Or was that yesterday and today? It might have been yesterday and today. And it looked like the same stuff. It was basically the same years. But they were this estate sale definitely knew what they were doing with cards because, everything was notated. Like they put out like the top rookie cards. It was like Terry Bradshaw rookie, all of these rookies. So I'm sure it didn't have price. Like, I wonder what the prices are on these. I bet it was a lot closer to market than $1 per card. Thank you, Uncle Rich. Good morning to you. Zach says, LRS, do you have a will and trust set up? I'm concerned someone will stumble on Bitcoin for $1 at your estate sale. Uncle Rich says, and as self-serving promotion, he'll be on Hobby Hotline. There you go. I will be able to tune in this morning. Orlando will be tuned in. Zach says to LRS, make sure you establish a trust to clearly lay out where your Bitcoin goes. Mr. Archer, good morning. First trip to Wrigley. Have fun. Even with the Cubs sucking the way they suck right now, at least Wrigley's a lot of fun. So you will have a blast. Win or lose. And it's the Cardinals, so hopefully they win. Victor's going to be there. He'll be on a rooftop. I hope the Cubs get some wins for you guys. Get a win for you guys. Scott's in the house. Good morning. Cooter says a rule of thumb on vintage oddball. If you haven't seen it before, pull it so you can look it up before you pay. That's a good, that's typically what I do in bargain boxes. And I should, the 72 high numbers, it's like, I don't know what these are. I should have done that. I'm kicking myself, but I did okay. I don't have to be greedy here. I think I did okay. Orlando says, did you say anything when you found the Peyton rookie? Yep, yes. Let's see. Where are we at? Got to those. Holmes in the house. Good morning. I spent the morning researching estate sales in my area. And that's the thing. You see this type of find, and it's like I'm not going to say 1 in a million, but 1 in 1,000. I could go to another 100 estate sales and never find. I probably will never find an estate sale like getting the deals I got yesterday ever again. But that's why you got to go and look. You never know. Like, based on the photos, like you look at the photos, like, yeah, there's 3 shoe boxes of 70s commons. And if you watched yesterday morning's video when I was previewing what was to come, I knew I had competition. It's like, oh, the cards are going to be gone by the time I get down there. And that's why you go through with it. At the time when I found out I was 4th, even though I got there like before they were supposed to even start the list, and I found out I was the 4th card guy, I'm like, shit, I might as well drive home and get work done. It's a good thing I didn't. It's a good thing I stuck around. Sometimes I could have stuck around all day and spent 6 hours there and come home empty-handed. Sometimes them's the breaks. Gundy, good morning. Great cards. Yeah, man, amazing. I am not going to garage sales this weekend. I have a wedding reception this weekend. James says, PSA 8 Walter will buy you a few scratch-off tickets. Damn, they should have taken the $5,000. I didn't say anything. I just said, oh, wow. I was about to say, you should have taken it. You should have taken it. Because they probably buy. I checked out at about 1. The sale only went to 5. I would say, based on, because I was in that basement where all the cards were $1 each, and I bet they made $1,000. They probably made $1,000 for the day. So $440 came from me. The other guy that spent the entire morning at the same amount of time as me, and he was still there when I left. He was probably going to be at $600-700. He said he was trying to get to 1,000, but I mean, by the time we were starting to really kind of scrape, and it's like, I should probably just leave while I'm ahead. But then when you get home, it's like, I should have bought more. So, I was starting to look at piles the second time. It's like, yeah, I think all the really good stuff's gone. And that was, and the offer was for baseball only. Some of the really good stuff was football. The best stuff was football, basketball. My 2 best pulls were the football, basketball. I got some good, George Brett rookie and 2 of them. What else? A lot of, $5, $10. But yeah, football, basketball were probably my best by far. If I had to rank what I pulled, I don't know. That'd be fun to go back and watch my video and rank what was the best pull just by value. And a lot of this stuff I, haven't even, comped. I didn't realize the Hostess Reggie Jackson was a short print. I looked up, I was looking to comp it because I put the Yount rookie up, and I had the Reggie, and I'm looking on eBay. There's nothing on eBay. I'm like, what the hell is this? I go to ComC. It's not on ComC. I'm like, I had to Google 1975 Hostess. I went to Baseball Cardpedia, and it had the list of each. I'm like, oh, it's a short print. So it's in my eBay store for $50. I don't know if that's underpriced or overpriced, but it's a good price for me. So that might be a great deal. I don't know. If anybody knows Hostess, there it is. It's in my eBay store. This reprints look great. Rich says, if you have complete 71 through 3 sets in decent shape, yes. And so the 71s, it was not a complete set. Neither was 72, and I didn't see any 73. So for baseball. So baseball was maybe partial 71. I think some other guys found, because I was their second, found like the Nolan Ryan and some of the Clemente, Ernie. But they may not have even been in there, because I don't think there was a complete set, because it was a much smaller pile than the rest. 72s, there was a very small pile of 72s. And I didn't see any 73. So it was basically, partial 71, partial 72, no 73, and then 74 to 78. I think there were probably, I know for 75, there were probably two sets, because I pulled two George Brett rookies. I think there were two Robin Yount rookies. I found one. There was a second one that was upstairs in a screw down that was priced at $5. And a guy bought it. He's like, I got this Robin Yount for $5. And hey, I got this one out of the dollar pile. Uncle Rich says 5K is a reasonable amount. What a great deal for $450. That's almost 10x the hobby, right? Herman, what's up? Good morning. Funny how they just have a $200 card just chilling. I know, in a few of them at that. Herman says going to watch an unveiling of a Mecole Hardman monument in his hometown. That's pretty cool. Let's see. James says that card gems, your PSA upcharge is going to be epic. Hey, I would take that. Yeah, a PSA 9 Peyton rookie is 20K plus. Sell it. Right. Yeah. Ain't no way in hell I'm keeping a 20K card of something that's not my PC. Town doesn't even have a red light. Cooter says there are great opportunities if you get to sales early. 2 years ago, I came across a sale on my way home from the ATM, turned $150 into over $12K, all non-card stuff. Wow. And that was, again, this was my first estate sale. And you know how I happened upon a Baraboo page, because Baraboo was in the news for the graduation thing. And so I'm like, I want to read more about what are the locals saying about this. And I saw the ad for this estate sale, and I saw 70s cards, and I'm like, oh, interesting. And it said, we'll show more pictures on June 12th or whatever. So I marked that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this. And when I saw the pictures, I'm like, I think I'm going to take Friday morning off, and I'm going to go check this out. Sometimes it's just right place, right time. You could go out and look for 1,000 estate sales and never come across something great, but you could be going to the ATM and stumble upon a garage sale. Let's see. No, I never said that. Uncle Rich says there's a website in DFW which lists almost all the estate sales. Yeah, estatesales.net is also a good one. There's some garage sale apps as well. There was a garage sale app that I had that ended up, it was really good a few years ago, like pre-COVID, and now like I don't think anybody uses it anymore. I downloaded it a second time, deleted it because I wasn't doing garage sales. I still don't do garage sales, but I'd look up and nothing. Let's see. Zach says, got it. So don't sell the Zimmer 91s, but sell the Peyton rookie. Well, yeah, hell yeah. Let's see. Cooter says you were fortunate they didn't price as a lot, because the first guy would have bought it all. And that was what I was. Yes, I am thankful for that. And we all said that. Like every one of us that was down there was like, I was really worried when it was $1 per card, but I'm really glad that that's how it was, because we all got more than we paid for in terms of value. We all killed it. And yeah, because you're right. I would have been third, fourth in line for cards, and they would have all been gone. If the first guy only wanted, maybe I may have had a chance because one guy was only interested in the 75. So it all depends on price too. Like you never know. Like you could go down there and it's like, okay, if it's all price, and that's why I had no expectations going in, because it could be overpriced. It could be $5,000 for all the baseball, and it's like it's not worth $5,000. Like this is probably what I'll sell it for, if that. And so it's like, Nobody's going to, I don't think any of the guys would have bought it at 5K. And I wouldn't have, and it still would have been their Sunday. Did you find Beckett magazines? There were no Beckett's. There were some magazines. There were some like Sports Illustrateds. There were some programs and yearbooks. A couple of guys kind of flipped through and all passed. Magazines just don't have much value. So I was not very interested. There was no Wayne Gretzky. There was hardly any hockey. There was no soccer. There was no Star Wars. There was no Pele. So that was my day. I came home, did a little gardening, did a little pruning in my garden, checked everything out. I have ducklings. Yesterday before the sale, I looked out the back window and there were 8 ducklings. So that was cool. And so my wife and I were just kind of out in the backyard last night, and I walked down to where my area where I weed down to the pond, the water line. The ducks enjoy my little spot because it's not in the weeds, but it's surrounded by weeds. So they're kind of covered up and they're right on the water, and they have a clear path to come feed underneath my bird feeder and pick around. So I've made a nice little habitat for the ducks. And so there were 3 mallards just hanging out down in my spot. I'm like, hey, they're squatting in my spot. That's pretty cool. I'll let them. Holmes says, definitely have my eye on the Joe Morgans. Did I don't remember picking Joe. Oh, there might have been a couple Joe Morgans that I got. So yeah, it was a fun find. So I probably will be a little more proactive looking for sales. Because you never know. And I'm going to be disappointed. Every future sale I attend, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, this isn't as good as the Walter Payton rookie sale. So we'll see. So Madison Card Show is next Saturday, sold out show. Remember, only 2 ballrooms, the Williamson Ballroom downstairs and the upstairs Capitol Ballroom with the mezzanine hallway will be open. So 135 tables next week. Sold out show, free admission, 9 to 3, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. I'll be submitting at least the Peyton and Irving to PSA. And then I've got to go through and look. One of the George Brett's definitely not going to submit. But the second one is a potential candidate. I don't think the Bill Waltons will go. What else was in there? The 72 high number Greasy, which I have listed, I've already got an offer of $60 on eBay. It's like, yeah, I should take that. But I'm also like, yeah, it looks really clean. I might want to submit that to PSA. So we'll see. It'll be my first PSA submission. Dat Dude from Duryea bought a few records once and turned out to be a grail piece for Kiss fans, a live 2 misprint. Estates and flea markets, always worth a look. So the lady I was talking with before the sale, she does like she does a lot of like storage auctions, and she was talking about vinyl, and she's like, have you ever heard of the band Rush? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. And she's like, you have? And I'm like, well, of course I have. It's Rush. And she's like, oh, I'd never heard of them. I'm like, what? I think she was probably younger, because Rush was I'm probably on the young scale for Rush, because they were more, they peaked in the mid 80s when I was a kid. But, I also worked in radio, so I probably have a little more knowledge on older stuff before my time. But she found a Rush vinyl that was signed by, I don't know if it's all the members, but it was signed by Geddy Lee and whoever else is in Rush. I think Geddy Lee, is that Rush? I don't know. I think that's Geddy Lee. Rich says, by the way, any 72 football high number are worth paying $1 each. I know. Now I know. There were about 15 of them in there, and I only picked out 2. And now it's like, I probably left about $500, that I could have, if I pay $15, I could turn into 500 on just those 72 highs that I left. I pulled out the Greasy and the Warfield, and I left the other ones because I'm like, these are commons. Whoops. You can't win them all, right? Can't go 100%. Holmes says a whole day of listing. Finally got my listings up to 5 million. Trying to decide if I do variation listings or each one as a single. I have around 750 1987 tops and figure out what is best. I guess it depends on where you're listing. If it's on eBay, you're probably going to want to do variation listings because your listing counts are so high or so low compared to your inventory. Geddy Lee is a huge baseball card collector. Aha. Geddy Lee had one of the best Negro League collections ever assembled. Interesting. I see those at times in DFW, and now I think based on that sale, they were released near Green Bay as well. Interesting. So, and there were a couple of Wonder Bread, and I know they're not as high priced as the high numbers, the Wonder Bread from 74, 75. But I pulled out a few of those because I knew they were worth more than $1. Rich says, which explains two things. One, Topps did marketing in where they would sell. That dude says, I saw an interview at Geddy Lee's house. It's like a museum for his collection. I'll have to look that up. Orlando says Lee has some videos of his collection. I was just going to say, I'll have to look those up. If the Wonder Bread says Town Talk, those are really good. Well, let's see. Of course, I've got 400 cards. Let's just grab one pile here. This is a good 72 high number, Frank Robinson. I didn't really, the 71 I found, it's like a $20 card on the 71. Okay, I think I did find them. Wonder Bread All-Stars. There's a Greasy, Zonka, and Upshaw that I pulled. And I probably left a few of these because at this point, where does it say Town Talk? On the back, I assume. Wonder Bread All-Star Series. I don't see Town Talk anywhere. That's on the Upshaw. The Zonka. The Greasy. Oh my God, what the hell was that? Jesus Christ. I don't know if you could hear that, but a bird just flew into my window. Scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I do not see Town Talk on these. Let's see. Where are we at? And the 72s were released in like March of 72, which is after football season. So yeah, now it's like the more I talk about it, the more I want to go back, but I just don't have time, damn it. So hey, if you're in the Baraboo area, go check it out. Might be worth your trip. The 72 high number football still might be there. Some Wonder Bread. Ooh, actually the Upshaw's creased now that the Zonka's got a little crease in it too. Got a little light shining in. All righty. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. No Hobby Evolution tomorrow. I will be out of town. So we'll resume Hobby Evolution Monday morning. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout. Let's see. So we'll go live at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Madison Card Show next Saturday, a week from today. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission, 135 dealer tables next Saturday. All righty. Hobby Hotline with Uncle Rich coming up in, I guess we're still over an hour away, hour 20. I went early today. So check out Hobby Hotline over on the Bench Clear Media channel. Have a great weekend. We'll do it all again Monday. See you then.